this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game.
Come on!
How could you ever hate this guy? Forever Warrior, Chris Paul. Am I right? Come on. CP3. Klay Thompson. Stephen Curry. Okay. Good vibes. Let's go. I, for one, on this Thanksgiving week, am grateful for a Klay game finally. It's been too long. It's been up and down the entire season, mostly down if we're going to be honest. And man, did he need that for the mentals. Did Warriors fans need that game last night for their mentals? Warriors 121, Houston Rockets 116 as they snap a 6-game losing streak and send the Rockets to a 2-game losing streak. Rockets now 0-5 on the road. Dubs improved to 2-6. At home, 888-957-9570, Dub Nation. That's the number to call or text. This is the Pregame Show. I'm your host, Joe Spadoni. For the next hour, you got me all to yourselves. Don't have to share. YouTube, Twitch, hit me up there as well. Search 95.7 The Game. Like, subscribe. We are streaming all week long right here, 95.7 The Game. Your home for Golden State Warriors basketball. We got all the cuts. We got all the sound. You're going to hear from Klay, from CP3, from Steve Kerr, from Stephen Curry. And you're also going to hear from the GOAT. That'd be Tom Brady. I'll explain that a little later on. But 888-957-9570 is the number to get involved. Good morning to all you beautiful people out there. Just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for vacation. We got vacation this week. Let's go. If you're going out of town, please travel safe. Leave early. Do what you got to do. If you're on the roadways, don't drive crazy. I mean, I'm talking to a lot of people out there that don't have to deal with a lot of people on the roadways right now. Road warriors. But please just be safe. That's all I want during the holidays. Can you do that for me, for Joe? I'd appreciate it. And good morning to, again, the Comcast Business Text line, which is always open. And Twitch and YouTube powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Warriors 121, Houston Rockets 116. And this is one they desperately needed. Goes without saying, any team is desperate when you're on a losing streak, let alone a 6-game losing streak, let alone 15 games into a season. When you brought in Chris Paul, you got rid of Jordan Poole, you have Draymond suspended for 5 games. Something needed to go right. And yesterday, it did. And who better than Klay Thompson and Chris Paul to have those breakout games? Klay Thompson, 20 points, 5-11 from beyond the arc, 3 boards, 3 assists. Chris Paul, 15 points, 12 assists. Only 1 turnover there. Come on, Chris. Clean it up. 1 turnover? What are you doing? What a game. They needed it desperately. Dub Nation, how badly did you need this win for the mentals? Who are you grateful for on the Golden State Warriors? I mean, it's got to be Stephen Curry. I mean, it's become a luxury at this point just to expect this guy to have 30-point performances night in and night out. 32 for Steph. 12 free throw attempts. Oh, my goodness. I thought the refs were out to get him, Sam. Apparently not. 12 trips? Oh, my goodness. Well, I guess 12 attempts. 12 trips would be 24 attempts, something like that. But 11 of 12 from the free throw line. 5 of 9 from beyond the arc. As our guy Stephen Curry drops 32. Who's the most impactful dub last night for you? 888-957-9570. Was it Dario Saric? I kind of like that for Saric. Because that's how it's pronounced, by the way. 5 of 10, 3 of 7 from beyond the arc, 5 boards, 2 assists, a steal, a block. 18 boards. 18 points, I should say. 18 boards. Oh, my God. It's not Kevon Looney. But he got contributions where he needed to get them. And you know what? I know the shooting wasn't great for Wiggins last night from the field overall, although 2 of 3 from beyond the arc, which is nice to see. I like the aggression from Wiggins early. Now, he just needs to keep that going because that mid-range, that baseline mid-range fadeaway, he's got that in the bag always. So nice to see Wiggins, still be aggressive. Not the, huge night he had in a loss against the Thunder. 12 points, 7 boards. I'll take the win. Let's just say that. Stephen Curry, after the game, with our very own Tim Roy, again, voice of the Warriors right here on 95.7 The Game, your home for Golden State Warriors basketball. Here's Steph talking with the great Tim Roy, talking about rewatching that OKC game twice and how it was, sticking in his brain playing in this one.
The OKC game, I got home that night. I watched the whole game at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I woke up at 8 and I watched it again, to your point, just because you're trying to understand where things went wrong and where you can get better. We still have to do that even in a win. You want to lift that cloud hanging over our team because, again, we don't want to form a losing identity, and you want to have something to show for the effort, like I said, that we putting into the game.
I thought the dark cloud was gone, Steph. I was told that. I thought Jordan Poole had gone over there. That was the dark cloud. Apparently there's another one. A lot of clouds here, although it's been nice and sunny here in the Bay. I enjoy that. All the rain is gone. Nice rain-free week for Thanksgiving. I can get with that. Enjoy the nice fall leaves falling on the ground. I love it. Love this time of year, especially for basketball and football. Oh, and by the way, we'll get to the game last night because that was a majority of my attention for last night was on the Chiefs and Eagles, as the Eagles, they're tough, Niner fans. Eagles get the job done 21-17 at Arrowhead as they improve to 9-1. It's a good little team out there in Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts, he was awful for most of that game, just getting destroyed. They hang around. Suddenly, big play, Devontae Smith, tush push, night. Chiefs receivers can't snag the ball, even though Mahomes puts perfect placement on all these. Travis Kelce gets butterfingers. Are we talking about a Taylor Swift curse now? Maybe. Maybe not. We'll see. But that game was more about the Eagles winning to me than the Chiefs losing. Chiefs will be fine. They're fine. As John Morant would say, they're good in the West. They're fine. Especially in the AFC West. Oh, my God. Don't even get me started on that. But this morning's about the Dubs. All right? And I want to hear from Dub Nation, 888-957-9570. Did you need that one, Dubs fans, for your mentals? Let me know. 888-957-9570. And also let us know on Twitch and YouTube, which I'm pulling up now. Oh, dare me. Good morning, Nicole, Hamza, DV, unapologetic Draymond apologist. I love that. Lift the cloud. Donut Man, 415. I need some donuts in my life. I'm on this diet, though. It's really tough. I shouldn't say diet, because that implies, a lot of restrictions, and it's not too bad. It's more intermittent fasting. I don't really eat anything until 12 o'clock. So it's just a lot of coffee and water and basically a Greek yogurt with some honey and a protein bar. That's basically it. But man, I can go for like a jelly donut right now. The glass of whole milk. Oh. And yeah, I drink whole milk. I don't drink that 2% or 1% crap. No. I got 2 kids and a bunch of problems. We got the whole jug in there from Costco. All right? Jaime. Let's go. Ken C. Don't worry, Nicole. I just mentioned the Jordan Poole thing because Steph mentioned the cloud. More from Steph after the game talking to our great Tim Roy. Tim Roy telling Curry that he passed the great Hall of Famer Nate Thurman for most minutes in franchise history.
In this game, you passed Nate Thurman for the most minutes played by a Warrior in franchise history.
I'm tired. I got to go get in the cold tub. Good grace. Don't tell me that. That's the stuff you don't tell me.
30,000 plus minutes as a Warrior. That's an incredible record. Nate Thurman was a mainstay of this franchise.
For sure. It kind of goes back to I might have done it like 3 years ago had Coach played us a couple more fourth quarters back in the day.
we shouldn't have been up 30 going into the fourth then.
You're still a little miffed about that point guard from Texas A&M playing ahead of you.
You know what I'm saying? That's a pretty cool acknowledgement, though. But
no doubt,
it's a lot of running around.
It's a lot of running around indeed. Stephen Curry, don't take this man for granted. Don't do it. He's been doing it for a long time. He's going to plan on doing it for a lot more. Don't take Stephen bleeping Curry for granted. That's all I'm going to say. And honestly, don't take Chris Paul for granted either. I know. He's only been here for a minute. He's been a villain for most of Warriors fans' lives, right? But 12 assists, that was a masterclass. That was, the masterclass where they have like Gordon Ramsay, they have Thomas Keller doing like cooking, they have, Bear Grylls doing like survival masterclass. Like, Chris Paul needs to have a point guard masterclass class. He does. Just the distribution. He was a maestro out there. He was Beethoven. He was Mozart. The Warriors was the symphony. I know he used the comp after the game. We'll hear from him soon. He said he was like a quarterback. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. He's trying to set these guys up. He's got elite wide receivers. Klay Thompson, who, let's be honest, he's been fading a little bit. He's more like a wide receiver 4 or 5. He's a flex option if you're desperate. Well, he looked like a wide receiver 2 yesterday, and Steph Curry, he's always WR1. Come on. Here's CP3 after the game talking about what a relief it was to get the dub.
Yeah, in a long season, when you lose that many games in a row, you forget what it feels like to win. So we just tried to play with a sense of urgency tonight and see if we can come out on top.
Here's more from Paul talking about assisting on 5 of the 7 shots from Klay Thompson.
Analytics is crazy now. I would have never known that. We just hooping, and I tell Klay all the time, I've played against him for a long time. Every time he shoots it, I think it's going in. You know what I mean? And he's a big part of our team and everything that we do. Sometimes we're going to need him to, cause 2-3 people to guard him and find the next guy. But every time I'm pushing the ball up the court, I'm looking for him.
From the 718, where the hell is that? 718 area code. New York. Oh, shout out. Let's go. It is 8:13 a.m. Shout out all my New Yorkers out there. All my, what do they say, Jersey Nights? I don't know. Jerseyites, New Jerseyans. Appreciate you guys all out there. Mom's from Jersey, got family there. Pennsylvania, shout out all of you. And shout out all the people watching on YouTube and Twitch that are worldwide. My guy Vic out in the Netherlands. Got my peeps out in Australia, Mexico, Canada, everywhere. We are the pit bull of 95.7 The Game, I like to say. But from the 718 on the Comcast Business Text line, good morning, Spadoni. The Warriors have played the toughest NBA schedule so far, according to stats, and have the second easiest schedule from this point forward. Okay, that doesn't really mean much to me. I'm sure, the Rockets have absolutely blown out expectations early on, but maybe they regress to the mean, if you will. You got the Suns coming up, you got the Spurs, you got the Kings, you got the Clippers, and a lot of these teams that you're mentioning, 718, teams like the Clippers, where they have 3 of 4 against them from November 30th through December 14th. Now they got a big gap in between there for the in-season tournament, which is going to be interesting. Sam and I were talking about that yesterday. Producer Sam Lubman and also host of Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys. Shout the hot stove. It's getting hot. Not for the Giants, by the way. It's just lukewarm. But other teams, it's getting hot. There's a 10-day gap from Saturday, December 2nd through December 12th. And if the Warriors don't qualify, they just have 10 days off. That's it. So 10 days off, chilling. And honestly, for an old team like the Warriors, that could come at the perfect time. So you got the Suns tomorrow in Phoenix, hosting the Spurs this Friday, Black Friday. Then you got next Tuesday at SAC. It's a group stage. It's going to be huge. And that's, as we all know, the day Draymond Green returns. Can't wait. And then hosting next Thursday against the Clippers, and then at Clippers that Saturday, and then the 10 days off. Maybe, unless you're qualified for the tournament, obviously. So, yeah, to 718's point, my New Yorker out there, it says it could be quote-unquote easy, but nothing's easy in today's NBA. It's just not, especially for the Warriors. I mean, this team just had a 6-game losing streak. And I know they played the teams like the T-Wolves, like the Thunder, young, strong, athletic, teams that could be a factor in the Western Conference. But they can't sleep on anyone. I mean, didn't last year teach us anything? And I know everyone's going to say, last year, Steve Kerr said it, that was an outlier. This is the norm. I was like, well, is it? Because he just had a 6-game losing streak. And I'm trying to be positive here, folks. I am. It was a big win. They needed to stop the Schneid, and they did that. Klay Thompson, nice to see him back. He needed that. Dubs fans needed that. You had a Wiggins game the other day. Maybe things can start rolling here. Maybe. But I need to see more. Yesterday was a good step, but show me more. So the notion that it's going to get easier, I don't buy. Because bleep happens. Someone's going to get hurt. Draymond suspension. I can't predict the future. Teams that you thought were bad early on might get good. Again, the Clippers, they're struggling. They're not very good. James Harden, yikes. I think we all saw that coming. But you know what? Maybe they find a groove. Maybe they start playing better. Maybe they find magic. And not Irvin Magic Johnson, who keeps tweeting about the Washington Commanders because now he's part owner. Oh my God. Magic doing football tweets. It is something to behold. But let's just enjoy the win. And whatever will come down the line. Steve Kerr asked on how important Chris Paul was in yesterday's win.
He was amazing. I mean, just getting us organized and, down the stretch. This is kind of what happens when you're in a rut and you've lost a bunch of games in a row. It's just hard. You don't get a 20-point blowout. You got to grind it out, and that's what happened tonight. But having Chris down the stretch, getting us organized, he got the ball down low to Dario late, and he got fouled for the 2 free throws and called another play where Steph got a layup. That's the beauty of having Chris out there is he's a true point guard, organizer, game closer. So he was great tonight.
More from the head coach, Steve Kerr, asked if the win was relief or progress or both.
A little bit of both. We weren't perfect, obviously, but, at this stage, you just need to win a game. And that's, that was the focus tonight. That's why I played Steph the whole fourth. He was brilliant, I thought, all night. And then I thought Wiggs was fantastic guarding Van Vliet. That's a tough assignment, but just got to grind it out. So hopefully this is a good sign and we can get back on track.
Wiggins, offensively not the best, but to Steve Kerr's point, Fred Van Vliet, other than, the 14 assists, you can't look past that. I mean, my God. Talk about a masterclass on both sides for the assist totals of Chris Paul and Fred Van Vliet. And Fred Van Vliet, by the way, say that 10 times fast, Van Vliet, you can't do it. He should have been the MVP of that finals. He hit every single big shot. I know Kawhi won it. He was the best player, but the most impactful and most valuable to me was Fred Van Vliet. That guy hit shot after shot after shot. He had that new dad energy, so he was just going to keep making them. All right, I digress. That was 4 years ago. I get it. But, hey, I didn't have a show 4 years ago, so I can say it now. Fred Van Vliet should have won Finals MVP. 3 of 13, though. 1 of 8 from beyond the arc. Shooting-wise, Wiggins did a hell of a job on Freddie Van Vliet, who got paid this offseason. Dylan Brooks, you know what? I got to tip my cap a little bit to Dylan Brooks. He's played well this season. And the whole, villain shtick and, Kalena was talking about on the television broadcast on NBC Sports Bay Area with Bobby Fitz, who was in his bag as he's been all season long. Bag, quote unquote. But the whole villain stuff aside, Dylan Brooks has been playing very well. And we all laughed at him, and I did too. And maybe I'm still laughing at the fact that he got, 4 years, 80-something million. But, I will tip my cap a little bit this season so far for Dillon Brooks, who's showed out, been playing tremendous basketball on both ends of the floor. Let's go blind here. Whoever this is, I am taking you right now on 95.7 The Game. Oh, I need to pot you up, so hang tight real quick. Don't worry, I'm going to play this sound, and we'll get right to you. I don't know who you are. We're going blind here on the pregame show, and that's fun. It's the fun part. I don't know who I'm going to be talking to next. Lastly, from Chris Paul on how important it was to get some full practices in with these guys.
You know, it's actually really important when you have a lot of new faces like we got with our team. You know, it's been a lot of different guys in and out the lineup, and, the starting lineup has changed a few times, and you just need to get those reps in practice. And we had a really good practice a few days ago where we just talked about how we wanted to play, and move the ball. And all of us within our team know that it looks a lot different. We feel the shots that we get and how we playing, and we just got to keep building on it.
Thank you. All right. Good morning. You're on the pregame show. What's going on? Hello. You're on the pregame show, Joe Spadoni. I'm taking you blind. Who is this? Who am I? Where are you calling from? Who are you?
Oh, hi. My name is Charlie. I'm calling from Providence.
Oh, Rhode Island. Okay. What's up, Charlie?
How's it going? I wanted to touch upon the game last night. Good win for the Bays because, we really needed that one. But then something I observed last night was something on defense. I'm looking at how we box out on defense. I can understand the size, but how about a little bit of effort on boxing out? I look at when shots go up in the air, how the Houston Rockets players box out. They feel the Warriors players. They seek out where they are and they try to box out. On the flip side, when the Warriors, you see, we don't even try to feel where the player is at. It's like we just stand there reactionary. Let's try to grab the rebound. And I look at the next stretch of games coming up against San Antonio Spurs, for instance, and I believe we got Denver coming up again. I don't know how we're going to, get through these games if we don't even at least try to apply a bit more effort on defense. And lastly, I wanted to give a shout out to Clay because I know he's been going through a tough patch recently and everybody has been hard on Clay. And it's so easy to forget what Clay has done for this franchise, for the NBA entirely. And I blame no other person except for Steve Kerr because I think Steve Kerr made us forget everything Clay has done. Because I feel if not for Steve Kerr, Clay probably could have broken Kobe's 81-point record. I remember how many games Clay was hot and Steve Kerr would take him out in the fourth quarter. Man, let this man cook. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Clay and say thanks for everything. We appreciate you, bro, and we still believe in you. Thank you.
That's Charlie from Providence. Appreciate you, Chuck. Calling in, 888-957-9570 if you would like to call in as well. Boxing out, of course, effort. You'd love to see that. I'm not nitpicking so much after yesterday's win. They just needed to win, right? So, yeah, is there stuff they can improve on, stuff they can clean up? Sure. Are they going to struggle with rebounds at times because of their size and lack of length and their lack of athleticism at times? Yes, they are. The Rockets are young. They're one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. It's a good team. Now, are they punching above their weight class early on in the season? Probably. Are they going to be a playoff team? I wouldn't bet on it. But you caught them at a good time. And I think the Rockets caught the Warriors at a bad time. Warriors were desperate. Rockets coming off the back end of a back-to-back. That was a recipe for disaster for them. Now they hung around, and eventually, the Warriors put them away. But as we've seen with the Golden State Warriors last two seasons, they can't quite put the nail in the coffin. But they did last night. Steph Curry talking to the media after the game, talking about the masterclass, the word I mentioned, from Chris Paul.
12 assists, 1 turnover, plus 12. And, a game where, like I said, we needed to kind of connect both sides of the ball. It was a masterclass.
More from Steph talking about Kerr telling Clay to give up the ball more. This was interesting.
Yeah, the ones he made in the first quarter were all off of good ball movement and action. And, if you're not open, swing it. if you're being guarded tightly cut. Simple stuff, but it's about trusting the offense that it's gonna come. And like I said, it's tough because, you know, I've been through, you know, spurts where you're not making shots and you're trying really hard to get it going. Like that's, you know, a shooter's nature. But it is kind of the beauty of the game when the ball is moving. It usually finds the right guy, especially the way that we play.
And the ball found multiple guys last night. Steph Curry, again, doing what he does. 32 points. Klay Thompson, 20. Chris Paul, 15, but 12 assists. It's a double-double, folks. 6 boards, 2 steals. Warriors, 121. Houston Rockets, 116. 888-957-9570. How much relief is there for you, Dub Nation? I would like to know. Again, 888-957-9570. All right, take a quick break. Come on back. More from the man of the night, Klay Thompson. Still need to hear from him. Plus, wait till you hear what Tom Brady has to say about the state of NFL football. You're going to be surprised. The pregame show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
For today's show and tell, I present my phone. It's made with glass and various metals I can't pronounce. It's powered by Xfinity Mobile, so my family saves big. Take a handout.
Colin, what are these?
I'm quizzing the class on the material.
Switch to Xfinity Mobile and save hundreds a year with the best price for 2 lines of unlimited. Just $30 a line a month. Visit XfinityMobile.com to learn more. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Unlimited Intro Service and Xfinity Internet required. Taxes and fees extra.
and The Panorama, a quarterly newsletter covering ongoing activities and historical presentations. Go to sfhistory.org and discover the San Francisco Historical Society, giving our history a great future. Become a member today.
Dub Nation, this is Tim Roy, and you're listening to the Pregame Show on 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back. Thank you, Tim. It is the Pregame Show. I'm your host, Joe Spadoni. Talking Warriors. Getting off the schneid. 6-game losing streak comes to an end. 121-116 as the blue and gold get the win over the Houston Rockets. Klay Thompson. Finally. That's the Klay we know. That's the Klay we love. 20 points, 5 of 11 from beyond the arc. Steph Curry, 32. CP3 with a masterclass, 12 assists, 15 points, 121-116. We've been hearing from Chris Paul. We heard from Steve Kerr. We heard from Steph Curry. We also heard from Charlie in Providence. So, we're coast to coast here on the Pregame Show. Coast to coast, LA to Chicago. That line doesn't really make sense anyway, but doesn't matter. 888-957-9570. That's the number to call, like Charlie did, or you can text the Comcast Business text line, like my guy from the 718 did, which, as we all learned this morning, is a New York area code. I didn't know. Maybe a lot of people know people from New York. I didn't. So the more you know. Warriors get back in action tomorrow at Phoenix against the Suns. Kevin Durant and co. Should be exciting. And we'll have all that coverage leading up to the game. 6 o'clock, Warriors Live, John Dickinson. So we'll have all of that. And all week long, we'll be streaming live on Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. And we're streaming live and local, 5 a.m. through 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, all the time. Now, Thanksgiving, I know we'll have pre- and post-game coverage of the Warriors. On Black Friday, we'll have all that. All day, we'll be live and local. As it goes for Thanksgiving, I will let you know. I'm not sure. I think we might be Fox Sports Radio. But you know what? I like to let people know these things. Because you know what? We have workers. People work. A lot of you that are listening to the show will have to work on Thanksgiving. And you know what? You got to get that money. I respect it. I had to do that many a times when I worked retail. Whether it was Thanksgiving night, Black Friday, anything. So shout out all the retail workers, all the grocery store workers, everyone that has to work, during these holidays, and obviously leading up to Christmas, all that. I appreciate you, and I'm going to try to make your morning just a little nicer. It's my job here. If I can put a smile on your face, I did my job. Or if I can make you angry, quite frankly, you know what? At least I got an emotion out of you, right? Thank you. Job. Thank you. That's the little brother in me. I'm a little brother, but I'm also a big brother. So you got that dynamic there where you're an irritant, right, to the older ones, and you're also just pushing down the little guy. It's just, got to have that mindset as a radio host. Klay Thompson. Guy's been struggling, to say the least, talking about, Bentrell, talking about trading him, talking about you can't re-sign this guy. Everything during the 6-game losing streak. That's what losing does. It makes you rethink and recalibrate, because when the losses start piling up and up and up, got to point fingers. And it's not going to be Stephen Curry's fault, because that's him. And it can't be Draymond Green's fault. We've all learned that. He gets rewarded. So we're going to go Andrew Wiggins. We're going to go Klay Thompson. Wiggins had a huge game. Thought he had the game winner. Chet Holmgren. Overtime, Shai Gilgeous. Thunder get the win. But Wiggins had his moment. And it was time for Klay Thompson to have his. And he did last night. And here's Klay after the game talking about how it felt when the shots started to fall.
It feels great. And hopefully breaks the seal for many floodgates to open. And yeah, it always feels good to shoot the ball well. It does not feel good to not shoot the ball well. So I was very happy that I made some shots tonight, even though I feel like I could have made more. But at least they were great looks.
Here's Clay, and he was asked about Kerr telling him to give up the ball more.
I'm not restless. I mean, I'm just being myself, and I have full confidence in my ability to have a great season. Although I've not shot the ball to my standards, that's fine. The season's so long, you can't get discouraged. I know that better than anybody. And I try to take Steve's advice because he's seen it all. So for me, it's just about enjoying this run, having fun. What else to prove?
From the YouTube chat, real quick, people are wondering what the pregame show rejoin I just had there. That was Passion Fruit by Drake. There you go. A little instrumental for you this morning. But Klay Thompson, this is a huge piece for him. This is a huge game for him. Just for the mentals and for Warriors fans in general, but more importantly, the player, because you ain't winning jack if Klay was playing like he was playing for most of this losing streak. You ain't winning jack if Andrew Wiggins was playing like he did for the majority of this season. You get the performances from Saturday from Wiggins and Klay Thompson yesterday, then yes, we can talk about a championship squad. The problem is the inconsistency. I need to see that in Phoenix. I'm going to need to see that against San Antonio, against Sacramento, and against the Clippers. Can I see it against those teams? Start collecting wins here, because I can't have the inconsistent Clays anymore. Not this inconsistent. I can deal with a game or two where it's off, but not 5 or 6. And I understand Clay's not going to be that same player anymore. We've discussed it. 2 major injuries. He's getting older. Players don't just come back and look the same anymore. So for Klay, it's limiting the damage. And how do you do that? Shot discernment. Giving up the ball more, as Steve Kerr said. Working with guys like Chris Paul more. Smarter shots. Not going for the heat check just because you think you need it, because that's what you did in the past prior to the injuries. Playing smarter and more efficient basketball will be a recipe for Klay Thompson's success going forward. That's what we've learned. Now, can he sustain this? Let's hope so. Because I like what I saw yesterday. And here's more from Klay being asked a question by our own Anthony Slater, talking about making his paper airplanes. This is kind of funny.
Chris talked about a practice a few days ago where you guys kind of dug into some of the offensive issues you're having. I mean, mostly via conversation more than on the court. Did that practice help?
What was the last part of that question?
Just how helpful was that practice?
It's very helpful. I mean, anytime Chris Paul speaks, you must listen.
He was making his paper airplane the whole time. What are you talking about, Anthony? That's the Klay we know and love. See, it's funny, the paper airplane thing, when you win, and he doesn't really make them in like huge losses if he doesn't play well. I will give Klay credit there, because then it becomes like, does this guy even care? That sort of aspect. But nice to see Klay making the paper airplanes again. He's becoming a wizard at that. I did a science project on paper airplanes when I was younger. I think I got like a C on it. I like half-assed the whole thing. But it was like different like types of wings and, you know, different types of like cardstock, different weights and stuff like that, and calculating the distances, all that sort of stuff. So I'm with Klay on the paper airplane thing. Shout out MIA, paper planes. There you go. One more break. We got more Warriors reaction, more of your phone calls, more of your texts. 888-957-9570. We got the morning roast coming on here in about 20 minutes. Bonta Hill and Joe Shasky, they're fired up after a much-needed victory. Warriors 121, Rockets 116. They're also fired up because the Philadelphia Eagles, they're coming, folks. And they're going to come hard. Couple weeks, Philadelphia, Niners, Eagles, NFC Championship rematch. You all saw what the Eagles did last night. You're waiting for this Dubs game. You had Monday Night Football on. Patrick Mahomes, I mean, he did all he could. I mean, it felt like that old Giselle line with Tom Brady in the Super Bowl when they lost to the, was it to the Eagles or was it to the Giants the second time? I think it was the Giants second time because Wes Welker. Yeah, that's right. Where he's like, my husband can't throw and catch the ball. Brittany Mahomes probably should have said that last night too, because Patrick Mahomes set that team up to get a huge win. They didn't. The defense did all they could. But Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, tush push, Eagles get the dub. And now it feels like the number 1 overall seed is going to go through Philadelphia. Still a lot of games to be played. But right now, Eagles put their imprint on the league and put the league on notice that we're the top dog, not Patrick Mahomes. So we're going to get into that. And wait till you hear what San Mateo's own Tom Brady had to say about the NFL and the current state. Not going to want to miss this. It's Joe Spadoni, the pregame show, 95.7 The Game.
Hey, Bay Area friends. Shane Company's San Mateo store is moved. We're now in the Bridgepoint Shopping Center, only a couple miles from our previous location. Shop our beautiful selection of handcrafted fine jewelry, create a one-of-a-kind piece in our new gem studio, and step into our pop-up radio booth to share a real story about...
Certified Humane. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Now, back to the pregame show on 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back. Pre-game show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. You know, a couple of the YouTubers last segment were like, hey, what's this last rejoin song? And the other one was a Passion Fruit from Drake. Don't ask me the name of this one. I can't say it on air. Can't say one of the words. It's, I just want to blank you. And you can fill in the blank. Hey, it could be a Mad Lib. How about that? Fill in that blank. I just want to blank you. There you go. 888-957-9570. That's the number to call or text. We've been talking a lot of dubs, and we'll continue to take your calls and texts on that. 121-116. Klay Thompson snaps out of a funk. Chris Paul masterclass. Stephen Curry doing MVP type of stuff. That's what Stephen Curry does as the Warriors get a much-needed victory to stop a 6-game losing streak. And real quick, breaking news. I'm seeing on my TV, the Steelers fire their offensive coordinator, Matt Canada. All right. Bad showing out against their division rival, Cleveland, last week. I mean, I don't know if whoever's taking over for Matt Canada is going to help Kenny Pickett be a good quarterback, but it is what it is. Oh, they're showing Kenny Pickett highlights. Gross. Okay, I'm going to stop watching now. Ugh. It's not good. All right. Just saying. It's not good. Speaking of not good, Tom Brady feels, and don't worry, I'm not saying he's good. He's the greatest player in the history of football. But Tom Brady doesn't like what he sees when it comes to current play in the NFL. This is via the Stephen A. Smith show, in which Tom Brady joined Stephen A. to talk about the current state of the NFL. And he brought up some very interesting points, and I wanted to play it for all of you and react. Here's Tom Brady.
I think there's a lot of mediocrity in today's NFL. Yeah. I don't see the excellence that I saw in the past.
Why not?
And
why not?
I think the coaching isn't as good as it was. I don't think the development of young players is as good as it was. The rules have allowed a lot of bad habits to get into the actual performance of the game. Mm-hmm. So I just think the product, in my opinion, is less than what it's been. I look at a lot of players like Ray Lewis and Rodney Harrison and Ronnie Lott and guys that impacted the game in a certain way, and every hit they would have made would have been a penalty. You hear coaches complaining about their own player being tackled and not necessarily, why don't they talk to their player about how to protect himself? We used to work on the fundamentals of those things all the time. Now they're trying to be regulated all the time. Offensive players need to protect themselves. It's not up to a defensive player to protect the offensive player. A defensive player needs to protect himself. I didn't throw the ball to certain areas because I was afraid players were going to get knocked out. Mm-hmm. That's the reality. Wow. I didn't throw it to the middle when I played Ray Lewis because you knock him out of the game, and I couldn't afford to lose a good player.
So that's Tom Brady via the Stephen A. Smith show. And Tom Brady, if you've been living under a rock the last 2 decades, he's the greatest quarterback in the history of football. He's the greatest player in the history of football. Argue with me all you want. You're just wrong if you do. 7 Super Bowls speak for themselves. He's not wrong. And I think a lot of the cynics would say, well, Tom, you benefited the most. I mean, you played till you were 45 years old because of these new rules. So why are you, now dogging on the league? Well, I think Tom is a perfect person to do this. Not only does he bring the credibility, but he played in 2 different eras. So not only did he win Super Bowls when you could knock people's heads off, shout out Drew Bledsoe, getting destroyed and Tom taking over for that. But he also played in the protect the quarterback era. So he understands it. And yes, a lot of his legacy is built off that second generation. You know, I think he was a better quarterback in his late 30s and early 40s than he was ever in his 20s. Now, a lot of that was because of nutrition, getting better workouts, TB12, avocado toast, just keeping his body right. Some of that, but also just knowing when to fall down, taking a sack, throwing it away. But the overarching theme there was there's just a lot of mediocrity. And to his point, I think this is the lowest, I've ever felt about quarterback play in the NFL. It really is. And, Joe Shasky and Sam Lubin, we were talking off air, getting ready for the morning roast. And Joe's like, well, now the conversation's shifted. So it's can't be Brock Purdy being one of the top 5. It's that everyone else is, not as good. And the league is just down overall. So, of course, Brock is a top 5 because the league's just down. And I'd say partially, yes. Now, I think Brock would still be a top 5 quarterback play-wise, regardless of who else is out there. Just look at his stats. Look what he's done this year. Look at the team. He's been tremendous. But I also search a lot of the offensive statistics. And if you're just going by certain players and certain quarterbacks, I mean, you got Sam Howell topping the list. And I like Sam Howell. We were talking yesterday. I like him as a quarterback. I think he gets way too much flack. He's not a top 10 quarterback, but he leads a lot of these statistics. Got Jared Goff up there, and Jared's been very good through his career. He's been very good. Good to very good, I'd say. Been to a Super Bowl. He might just get the Lions a number 1 seed. Might just do that, which would be incredible. And then you got, obviously, Tua Tagovailoa. Think what you want about him, but he's got 21 touchdowns, 8 picks. He lost a fumble last week. Tua's been on fire. But then you start going down and down and down. It's just like Baker, Geno, Jordan Love. Like, really? So you got your mainstays, obviously. You got your Mahomeses. You got your Burrows, but he's hurt. So Mahomes is being consistent. Josh Allen, he's Mr. Inconsistent right now. I know he just got a big win against the Jets, but great. It's the Jets. Aiden O'Connell just beat him. No disrespect, Aiden. Love the mustache. Praying for you next week against the Kansas City Chiefs. Jalen Hurts, impressive. Okay. Just in the Super Bowl. So Mahomes, Hurts, who else we putting there? I'm not putting Josh Allen. I guess I'll put Burrow. But again, he's hurt. Lamar? Okay. I can listen to that. He's won an MVP. I'll put Lamar in there. CJ Stroud? I love CJ. He deserves to be an MVP candidate. He needs to do it for a couple of years. Brock Purdy. He's been doing it for a year now. If we're just going games played. Okay. Is that it? Are we gonna lock him in there? Do we feel confident? See, this is where I'm getting at. Once you get past these guys and you get into the Herberts, if you want to put him in there, Dak Prescott, right? Trevor Lawrence. See, it feels like this is the lowest point for quarterback play in the NFL in my lifetime. Like, I go back to the 2000s. You had Brady. You had Manning. Oh, the camera. So sorry, guys. Been looking at the hallway. Maybe you saw someone else. It's all right. It happens. I don't have my camera up in here, so it's tough. But thank you, Sam Lubin. So I've been doing soliloquies to a lot of you, but most of the people in their cars just getting up for work. I appreciate you. But this is the lowest in my lifetime. Early 2000s, you had Peyton Manning, you had Tom Brady, you had Roethlisberger, you had Phillip Rivers. Hell, you had Eli Manning win some Super Bowls. You had Kurt Warner. The list goes on and on. Drew Brees. Am I missing anyone? Probably am. Rich Gannon won an MVP. So you have these guys. Then before that, Elway, Aikman, Young, Montana. You had Hall of Famers left and right. Matt Ryan, I'm hearing. Okay, Matt Ryan, you want to toss him in there? That's fine. He's good. Very good. He has Hall of Fame type numbers, so I'm not mad at that. But right now, it's very meh. And Tom Brady goes on, and I highly recommend watching this entire interview with Stephen A. Smith, the Tom Brady on the Stephen A. Smith show. But he goes back to college. It all starts there. And he was basically saying, hey, there's no programs like there used to be. There's a couple. You got Alabama. They're a mainstay, right? Yeah, I don't know, Clemson, sure. Dabo's been there for a while, but it's not really. And you got Kirby Smart, okay. But coaches are leaving left and right now. They're trying to do what's best for them going forward and their brands. And it all starts there. So if you're not getting coached the right way in college, how are you going to be in the NFL? You're going to be a step behind, a step slower. Why do you think Alabama, Georgia, SEC players get drafted more so than any other conference? Because they're the most ready to play. Because they do have programs, like I mentioned, with Kirby Smart in Georgia, like Nick Saban in Alabama. So I agree with Tom, and I think a lot of people are going to look at it and say, like, old man denigrating league. This is Charles Barkley. This is Kenny Smith. This is Michael Jordan, talking trash about the current state. I don't think Tom's doing that. I think he's comparing current quarterback play. Defenses aren't allowed to be as strong and forceful as they used to be. And Tom mentioned it in that clip. He said, hey, I used to not throw certain routes or the ball to certain receivers because I know a guy like Ray Lewis or Rodney Harrison or, Brian Dawkins would pop that guy. Like Edelman, he could be out, or Wes Welker. They could be out for the game. And Welker obviously dealt with a lot of concussions, so I'm sure he was mentioning him and thinking of him when he was making those comparisons. Like, that affects the game and affects quarterback play. Now, defenders are in their own head. They have to think about where to hit this guy, how to hit this guy. And in a split second, that's the difference between making an actionable tackle and the receiver slipping past you and getting a touchdown. So overall, defense affects the offense affects the defense, and play all around is down. But for the morning roast, which is up right now, Bontel and Joe Shasky, their play is up. So is the Warriors, 121-116 over the Houston Rockets. Come on back tomorrow, folks. The pregame show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco.